In this example, I would like to find the cosine of 5 pi over 12 exactly. So since it says exactly, I don't want to use my calculator and get a decimal. I want to find it with the square roots and all that stuff in it. So here's my trick. I look on the unit circle and 5 pi over 12 isn't there. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to multiply it by 2 times a 2. 5 pi over 12 times 2. Let's see, the 2's will kind of cancel. 2 goes into 2 once into 12 6 times, so I'll wind up with 5 pi over 6. Now 5 pi over 6 is on the unit circle, which is what I want. So I'm going to be working with 5 pi over 6, because if I take half of 5 pi over 6, if I take half of it divided by 2, I will wind up with 5 pi over 12. Okay, so I'm going to be working with 5 pi over 6. Here we go. I look on my formula sheet, and when you look on your formula sheet, you'll see the cosine of theta over 2 is equal to plus or minus the square root of 1 plus the cosine of theta over 2. Now, the plus or minus will just the plus or minus is there just to let us place it in the right quadrant. And since I know that 5 pi over 12 is in the first quadrant, I will be using the plus. Okay. Alright, so let's get started here. I happen to know my theta, we just saw from the previous screen, is 5 pi over 6. So cosine of 5 pi over 6 divided by 2 is equal to the square root of 1 plus the cosine of 5 pi over 6 divided by a 2. Now I can look this up on my unit circle, and I can see that the cosine of 5 pi over 6 is negative square root of 3 over 2. So this is equal to the square root of 1 plus negative square root of 3 over 2 divided by 2. Now I need a little more room to write, so I'm going to move on to the next slide. So we have right now cosine of 5 pi over 6 divided by 2 is equal to the square root of 1 plus negative square root of 3 over 2. Right, that was from the last slide. The whole thing over 2. So here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to rewrite this 1 as 2 over 2. So I'll get the square root of 2 over 2 plus a negative square root of 3 over 2, the whole thing over a plain old 2. Right. So coming down here, that's going to be equal to the square root of 2 minus the square root of 3 over 2, the whole thing over 2. I just added these two fractions together. Okay. Now I'm going to think of this 2 on the bottom as 2 over 1. And we know how to handle fractions. You just take the fraction on top, 2 minus the square root of 3 over 2, times the reciprocal of the fraction on the bottom. And that's going to get you the square root of 2 minus the square root of 3 all over a 4. But this 4 can come out of my radical as a 2, right? So I'm going to simplify this down just a little bit further to say it's the square root of 2 minus the square root of 3, the whole thing over a plain old 2. And there you have it, folks. We are done. We have found the cosine of 5 pi over 2 exactly.